Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. It's August, it's summer, and today we have a monthly members poll winner. This is summertime. Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald, both household names. You can vote on these polls, by the way, just by joining my Patreon. Completely free. Link in the description. This song, very, very famous. A Gershwin aria composed in the 1930s for Porgy and Bess. And this is part of Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald's album of the same name, Porgy and Bess, from the late 1950s. I've come into this one thinking I know this version, but I'm not actually so sure the more I think about it. I think I might be familiar with a different version of Summertime. So this might not be an official first time hearing for me, but I have a feeling I don't know this version too well at all. So I think let's get straight into it. Ooh, interesting descending arpeggio there. Quite difficult to hear the bass, the double bass being played, but a song like this, a performance like this really just highlights the significance of the bass in general. I always talk about the bass part in pretty much any video I do, how it has this harmonic foundation underneath everything. A bit before here, how it just suddenly dropped down, really showing off this harmonic shift. I will be pausing here and there as well, by the way, for copyright reasons. If you don't like pauses and you want to hear the song uninterrupted all the way through, go watch the original video. I'll leave it in the description. My video is probably not for you. And I will, of course, be assuming that is Louis himself playing the trumpet. I didn't realize, by the way, this is not planned. The shirt I'm wearing, no music, no life. We have Louis over here with his trumpet. So in my head, I'm imagining these guys are moving around and playing. Let's carry on. Groovy, yeah. All right, 1.5 minutes in. Like I said, copyright reasons, I will be pausing. So let's do our first pause now. I guess we can kind of treat it as segments. Instrumental opening, quite a long instrumental opening. And then after I've pointed out a few things I found interesting, we'll get to hear the lovely Ella Fitzgerald singing. Straight back to the start, we open. This major third. That's a major third, this interval. 1, 2, 3, 4 notes apart. If you hear that, you might think, oh, it's a D chord, because that's the major third of D. If it were minor, it would sound a bit different. So no, it's major. But we're not in the key of D. The first note there in that descending arpeggio in the violin is a B. So if we just shift this note by 1 to that B, we're in B minor. Let's bring the B at the bottom to make it a little bit easier to see. And there's our B minor chord. A major third by themselves, but in the wider harmonic context, very much this minor, sadder feeling. So already there's a mix of emotions here. The song's called Summertime. You'd expect it to be super happy and upbeat. But as we can hear from the song itself, there are perhaps some slower, almost sadder undertones. Then comes that lovely descending violin arpeggio. Which is interesting. I'll try not to spend too long on this. Those opening notes. Oh, that's an E minor arpeggio it's outlining. But then the next note is this. Oh, okay, that's a diminished chord. And then the next note. If we kind of work backwards, it now sounds like we're actually in the chord of A with a seventh in there and the ninth. So basically what's happening is as we're moving down this arpeggio is the chords it's outlining are shifting by adding more notes. G major, E minor, slightly ambiguous, diminished. Oh, okay, a jazzy A chord, but then it keeps on going down to here, and then here. So now if we move backwards again, it's like we're now in a D chord. Again with the seventh and the ninth. And then the further we move back, the stranger it gets, the more harmonically ambiguous it gets. And then the penultimate note. This is our root chord, B minor. Let's get rid of all the previous notes we heard. Okay, so previously we've been moving through chords, constantly shifting, adapting. Now we've arrived at our root key, B minor. But how does that little run end, alternating between here? Oh yeah, that's a slightly strange chord. And then here. Discordance, these two notes, chromatic, one next to each other being played at the same time. And then alternating back and forth. After this descending arpeggio, that's really not the resolution we're perhaps hoping for. It's quite mysterious in a way, and at the same time we have this brass note at the top, just sustaining. And now these swooning alternations, I'll call them, just moving up and down. And then in between them, we have the little, what's that, like a xylophone almost. Or a bell type sound, or a celeste or something. And the chords moving up and down. It sounds a little bit eerie because this is called parallel motion. And this is because we have one line and another line. If we play them together, interesting, right? How can these clashes sound so non-clashy? Well, they've just played quite far apart from each other. That's the kind of harmonic basis here. Of course, we have the other inner parts filling everything out. Of course, the percussion comes in. Little taps, very smooth. And then Louis with his trumpet. I'm not too familiar with Louis Armstrong, to be honest. I've not listened to him in a long time, certainly. I'm sure I've heard him quite a few times in the past. I like his style of playing for sure. It's a very bright sound, and bright we usually associate with, you know, moving up a bit. He's almost a bit sharp on some of the notes he plays. Lovely little chromaticism there. Yeah, it's a really cool style of playing. There's a lot going on in this instrumental introduction. I simply can't cover everything. Just really nice lines in there. Leading into a response now descending. A falling scale, but just with some added chromatic notes in there just to give it a bit more of that jazzy type of feel. Okay, well, let's carry on now from Ella's entry. The sustained notes causing dissonance.
Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
this morning.
Ah, here comes Louis, one of the most recognizable singing voices of all time, I would think, right? Just a few things from the Ella section I'd like to mention. One, and your ma is good looking. I don't recall ever hearing that. To me, it's always been, and your mum is good looking. So yeah, it's making me doubt if I've ever heard this version before. What a voice Ella has though.
Summertime, and the living is easy.
Very rich vibrato. She enters vibrato quite quickly, it seems. She doesn't seem to be using too much straight tone, so no wobbles or flutters in the singing voice at all. And to me, the sounds to be quite forward as well, rather than how some singers do it. Quite nasally, maybe. She is definitely not that.
Fish are jumping.
On Fish Are Jumping, she did choose to use straight tone on Fish. And that's interesting because underneath the instrumental parts are all moving up. Fish are jumping. She is not moving. She's the stagnant part. She is the bringer of dissonance here, you know, making these scrunchy chords. Vibrato, in a way, kind of masks the note that you're singing. It's wobbling, it's alternating technically. So if you have a note that's a dissonant note and you choose not to sing with vibrato, you're bringing out the most of its harmonic role as a scrunchy bringer there.
Fish are jumping.
Everything rising underneath.
And the cotton is high. Oh.
And there's that line in the middle followed by the descending scale with a bit of chromatic parts added in there. The accompanying music really is very similar to the introduction. So far it does seem like the introduction, you have your accompanying music and then you have the trumpet solo on top. Second section, accompanying music, Ella on top. Next section, we can assume accompanying music with Louis on top. But of course, we have had a key change. I like that. There's the key change, but now we're hearing this rhythmic alternation. Much stronger. That really is what grabs our attention here. So the key change has almost been shoved to the side a little bit. It doesn't quite have the limelight. Definitely not the same type of key change you'd get in a lot of more modern music where a key change moving up really signifies like brightness or power or hope or something. Just to show you how the key has changed. Before we had those alternating chords, I'll just play the top line. Was alternating there. Now we're alternating. That's quite a difference. A very significant difference. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now.
One of these mornings, you gonna rise up singing. Yes, you spread your wings and you take to the sky. But till that morning, there's nothing can harm you.
Yeah, his section, now we are seeing a development in many ways. Key change for one, subtle rhythmic changes, more to do with the structure of how the instruments are playing. But the instrumental accompaniment I mentioned earlier, like we had section 1, accompaniment, trumpet, then accompaniment, Ella. Now the accompaniment, things have changed. That lovely line I was pointing out before has now shifted to the violins. Doubled in octaves, of course, by a brass underneath, it sounds like. The bass as well is now much more of a prominent walking bass, again with chromatic inflections added in there. And Louis himself, that lovely recognizable voice of his, so cool. He is also very much leaning into this chromatic idea.
But till that morning, there's nothing can harm you.
instead of the actual melody, which is ba-bum. We've got that chromatic just to really increase the intensity of it all. Ooh.
Standing by.
Jazz piano, hello.
Summertime.
So Ella's coming back in now, it seems, with Louis. Is this a duet? I don't think I've heard this before, to be honest. We've now reverted back to the key we were before with Ella, B minor. So we start here, then Louis starts singing, and now we've gone back for Ella. Why the key change? Why don't we just stay in the same key? That would make things easier, right? Well, this is jazz, firstly, but secondly, to suit their ranges. It's a very significant key change, almost as big as you can get halfway through the octave. And the transition between the key changes, it's barely noticeable, right? It's super smooth, which is the goal.
And the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your ma is good looking.
Why don't you say, oh,
So hush, little baby,
oh yeah.
baby, don't you cry.
Oh, don't you cry. Oh, don't you cry. Oh, don't you cry. Oh, don't as I said.
I just love the harmonic ambiguity in there, which is a strange thing to say because as far as songs or performances I've heard on this channel go, you know, this is one of the most solid musicianship, arrangement, everything very much planned, I'm sure. But I just want to listen to that final harmonic progression.
Don't you cry.
Oh, don't you cry. Oh, don't you cry. Oh, don't you cry.
Really interesting last section, that. Scatting. I think I'd call that scatting from Louis there. And some slight melodic modifications from Ella. Really, really cool. Overall, you know, that's not the most exciting song for a reaction video. I'm not going to be dancing around the place. It's just a very cool, smooth bit of music. I still felt this idea of growth throughout, mainly the sections I spoke about before: accompaniment trumpet, accompaniment Ella, key change, things growing a little bit, and then it kind of culminates in that final section, that duet, where everything's changed a little bit, but enough to make it sound different or like this new idea, but still very much in the same cool, calm, collected sentiment as we saw in the beginning of the song. Really nice arrangement, that one. Smooth listening, I think. Interesting for me because I typically associate summer songs or songs that I tend to listen to in summer. I have a summer playlist, all that kind of things. And they're mostly upbeat, happy songs. This is definitely a different kind of summer listening. So let me know in the comments down below if you prefer smoother music like this in the summer or happier, upbeat songs. To show me you made it this far in the video, comment a sun emoji. Every comment helps with the algorithm, so you don't need to actually say any words that way. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.